What are the best maps in Guild Wars 2 to farm on to get the most amount of gold? This is the question we want to answer today, of course, in what else than a tier list. I'm a tier list enjoyer after all, grab a cup of tea, enjoy the ride. As always, let me know your comments down below. If you agree with me, if you disagree, let me know. And a shout out to all my dear supporters that help me keep the lights on. And now without much further ado, let's jump in and explain what I want to rate here and how it works. So I have here a list of very well-known farms that you can do on specific maps. I also have the name on there and how much gold per hour you can get estimately on average using the data from Fast Farming. Link to their website is in the description down below. Those numbers might not be reachable for you if you're just doing that randomly with other people, just joining without having an organized tag or something. But if you have very organized, you can reach those numbers. So this is the comparable data that you can see here. I will not only take into account how high the gold per hour is, of course, because that's something that is not like that fun to do because you can just rate the numbers depending on how high they are. I will also take into account how easy it is to get into, how fun it is in my opinion, how well designed the specific farm is, and just in general how maybe you get some lucky drops on top of that, that's even better. And what can I say? This is just my personal take and this is not completely objective, of course. I also included stuff like the Marionette and the Dragonstorm, which are instances that you can go in as a squad. So that's why it's somewhat similar to a farm, but it is obviously daily kept, so you can't over and over do that. Or you can, but it's not that worth it. So it's still in here in this farm math section. If you want to see my meta events, where a specific meta event or a world boss is included only, and this is the specific goal for a specific meta event that you want to do, not a specific farm on a map all the time, then be sure to check out this video. But now let's talk about the first one. Let's start with Dragonfall. I think Dragonfall is already one that is very good. I like it a lot. It's a very fun map. Yes, the boss itself, the fight is quite weird, but the farm itself is really good and I like it because it is very easily repeatable, it's easy to join, you don't have to organize it that well, and you get really good gold power. I think it's the first A tier for sure, high A tier. Not yet S tier because you will see there will be something else there that I think is actually better, but this is very fun, definitely very high A tier. Maybe deserves a spot in low S tier, we will see that later. Then we have Bounties. Oh boy, Bounties need a lot of organizing if you want to get to this 50 gold per hour benchmark. And if you don't do that, then it's not that good anymore. I think if you know what you're doing, and some bounties can be very annoying to deal with, but if you know what you're doing, it's good tier. And very good gold per hour, but I think it's not the most fun thing. And it needs really high organizing to get this number. If you don't organize it, it's just not that good farm. So I think good tier, it's somewhere in the middle, I would say. It's not as good as Dragonfall, not as easy to get into, but definitely very high gold per hour value. Then we have Corner. Yes, you can farm Corner, which is a map that is very dead most of the time, but if you farm it, it's actually surprisingly good. I don't like this farm, it's quite boring and not interesting, but you can do it, that's why it's an OK tier. Definitely good gold per hour, and you need a lot of organizing to make it work though. While we're already at it, you can also farm High Bluffs. I think it goes the same, it's a little bit lower gold per hour than Corner. I don't like it from a design perspective, you can do it, it's okay. But I'm not the biggest fan of it, that's why both of them are in OK tier. They are way better and less important to organize farms in there here for sure. Then we have Bava Nisos. Bava Nisos is the first S tier farm because it's just so good with the gold per hour currently. Yes, you are doing the same events over and over. Yes, you have to sell specific items to get to this gold amount. But if you do that, and you can do that right now, it's actually quite easy to get into. You just farm like 5 events, 3 events or something like that over and over and over. It's quite boring. But in general, it's actually quite good. And if you don't mind some kind of brainless farm, this is like by far the best. It's not as fun in my opinion as Dragonfall. Maybe because of that we have to promote Dragonfall because Dragonfall is just more fun, even though it has less gold power. So let's maybe leave it like that for now. But Bava Nisos was definitely a very, very good farm if you're just in for the gold. Then we have a very interesting one, Verdant Brink. Verdant Brink, you farm the day and night cycle and do a very long, so to say, staying on the same map. And it's actually a very good gold farm. I think it's very fun. It's quite underrated. Needs some setup for it, but I think it's actually a good gold farm. I think it's deserving a spot in B tier, maybe in A tier as well. I think it's actually surprisingly fun, but you need to have some setup. So let's put it in the highest of B tier. And then we have Auric Basin. This is not the Octavine. It's not the meta event. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It's the bubble farm. So you farm events when there is the specific bubble drop rate. And this is really, really good gold per hour. You don't need that much like setup, and I think it's actually quite fun to have a lot of different Auric Basin events going on. but you really need to have the bubble currently happening. So I think that's for me probably A tier. Maybe Verdant Brink goes in A tier then as well. They are actually quite fun farms. This is actually a very good gold power Auric Basin as well. Let's leave it for now like that. And while we're already talking about all the Heart of Thorns matters, I would say let's also talk about Tangled Depths. Yes, you can do that as well, the bubble farm. I really like the Tangled Depths map. Not a lot of people would agree with me, but I really like it. It's lower than Auric Basin, but it's still quite good farm. I think it's in good tier. Not amazing, but good. As you can't really farm Dragon Stand over and over, I don't include it here. It's also very bad gold power, so if you're looking for that, be sure to check out my meta tier list. But now let's talk about Skywatch. Yes, you can farm Skywatch as well. Somewhat similar to Verdant Brink, just over and over. I'm not the biggest fan of farming Skywatch. It's not the best map in general to farm in my opinion. It has good gold power, but it's not the most exciting and needs some setup. So because of that, B tier, it's good, but not crazy. Then we have the Istan farm. I think Istan farm is really fun. I think it's very underrated. It's still very good gold power. I think it's definitely going in A tier for me. It's not as good as it once was, but it's still quite good, and it's a lot of loot that you get, and I like this just general design. I'm a big fan of Istan, like what can I say? Maybe I'm biased here. Then let's go to some core farms. We have the world bosses. World bosses give you 20 gold per hour, and roughly, if you do it quite fast and you take everything with it, I think it's okay. It's like nostalgic doing the old world bosses and going for train and stuff. It's very classic Guild Wars 2 gameplay for a lot of open world players especially, but it's not the best farm, because it's just very low value and you stand around a lot and wait for them to spawn. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like more active gameplay, but I think it's definitely for some people that like chilled, relaxed gameplay, it's very fun. And this is okay tier for me. That might be completely different for you though. Then we have some other core farms, which is Dry Top. I think Dry Top is very low, I would say, from the gold value. Because of that, it has to go in okay tier. It is doable as a core player, so you don't have to have any expansion for that. That's really cool. But we have another map coming up that is actually better than Dry Top. That's why this has to be in C tier. And the other one that I meant here is Silverwastes. Silverwastes has higher gold per hour values than Dry Top. Is also core, and it's actually, in my opinion, quite unique with the RIBA and how you farm this and the chest farm and stuff. You don't have to like it, but I personally think it's actually quite a fun farm. That's why it goes in the top of B tier. I think it's not the most exciting one, but definitely better than Dry Top in my opinion. By the way, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I have way more gold tier lists coming up. But now let's talk about some instance content. Battle for Lion's Arch is an instance like the Marionette or like the Dragonstorm instance, and it's also in this tier list because you can get it for gold per hour, but in my opinion, it's really bad. It's so bad. No one does it nowadays anymore, and it feels very, very lackluster. Even if you do it, it has bad gold per hour, so just don't do it. That's the thing. I still need some achievement, and I can't get them. And with the Twisted Marionette, yes, it has 40 gold per hour, but it's just because it's so fast, you can't do it over and over in that regard. So I think it's an okay tier. It's just like a decent thing to have there and fill your world boss times, but it's not crazy amount of gold power. Then with Dragonstorm, yes, you can farm that over and over, but it's not that rewarding. I would say the gold per hour value here is definitely only by doing it once a day, but it's definitely a very, very good, so to say, farm. It only takes 15 minutes, or not even, and it gives you 45 gold per hour. It's amazing. You also have a chance of getting a very good drop, like an infusion that is very high value. So I think definitely an A tier. It's a very fun thing to do. Not too bad in terms of like annoyingness. Yes, there's some cutscene and stuff, but I think it's not too bad. The story definitely is not great, but I think the fun of it and the rewards of it are definitely making it worthwhile, and that's why it's an amazing tier. Then we have Echovald Wilds. Yes, you can farm this map over and over. It has surprisingly good gold power. I think you need some setup for that, and that's why it's not the best highest value, but if you can get the setup, it's actually surprisingly high how good this is. I think because of the setup that it needs, it's somewhat similar to Bounties. It needs to be in good tier, because Bounties are also 50 gold power, but you need again the setup, and Echovald Wilds is exactly the same. That's why it's in good tier. Then we have the Tower of Nightmares. Yes, Tower of Nightmares is again an instance that you can farm as a squad. Some people farm that over and over, even alone. You can do that, but come on, the gold value is so bad. Just don't do it. It's just outdated. It's not really important anymore. Same goes for Battle of Lion's Arch. Just don't do them. In Reflect Doric, yes, you can farm the ladder farm there and you get a decent amount of gold. There might be some AFK players there as well. I'm not the biggest fan of that. And with the current market value of ladder and stuff, it's really bad gold per hour, and I think it's not worth doing. But if you really wanted to, you can put it in lower bottom of OK tier, but I think just don't do it. It's just not worth it nowadays. We will see that in an upcoming tier list where I rate other farms as well, not only meta events and open world maps. And you can see there is another thing coming up with fishing that is also very, so to say, chill and relaxed, like the ladder farm here. And it has way higher, like 4 times, 5 times the amount of Lake Doric's gold power. So why would you do Lake Doric if you can do another chill farm that is just way better? So that's my opinion there. And then lastly, we have Convergence CM. This is also something that is a little bit daily capped, but you can do nowadays 8 different CMs. So it's actually quite a lot of that stuff that you can do. And if you get the gold rewards consistently, yes, it requires a lot of setup, but the amount of gold power, if you liquidize every single item that you get, is insane. I would say Convergence CM for me definitely got here, and highest of highest, because it needs a lot of setup, or some setup at least. You need decent players for it, but if you can pull it off, the gold power is insane. And it's very fun in my opinion. I like this idea of farming instances that are some kind of open world maps. I think that's really good. I think that's very fun to do and very cool design, and I hope we get more of this, and hopefully more of the community engages with this. I think that's really cool. That's why it's here. This is my tier list. You can see actually quite a decent like split, and definitely some of them are really bad. I would never do them, but most of them are actually somewhat decent and have really high numbers as well if you organize well. So let me know your takes. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks again to all my supporters, and hope to see you all in the next video.